Today, IndusInd Bank is the top gainer on the Nifty 50, and it's because Nomura has hiked the target price from 700 to 1,050 rupees. Can this essentially spur positive momentum on other analysts as well to likely hike target price is really what I will be thinking about, and what most should consider as well. Well, the past few months have been turbulent is what Nomura is saying. Bank has undergone significant cleanup is what they're saying. They're comparing an IndusInd to an RBL or a Yes Bank, and they're saying that leadership exits there were largely due to asset quality concerns. That's what AQ really stands for. IndusInd's liquidity and capital position, though, is healthy in comparison to the former two, and there's a faster improvement in the profit in the medium term that Nomura is penciling in. They are in fact expecting FY 27-28 EPS increase of 14 to 16%. They've hiked their EPS estimates, and they're expecting ROA as well as ROE improvement going forward. The ROA, they're expecting 0.8 to 1.1% FY 27 ROA, and they're looking at an ROE of 7 to 10%. It's done 0.4% in ROA in FY25, just for context. Valuations at 0.9 times 1 year forward look inexpensive is how they are terming it. Risks being new leadership coming in fairly quickly and starting to act, and second is discrepancies in the book. If anything fresh comes up, that's a problem, or if leadership takes time to kickstart the process, that may also play a little bit of spoil sport. Talking about the overall analyst ratings, 10 buy calls, 14 hold calls, 22 sell calls, with a 12-month target price 752, which is a negative 12% return. So playing contrary here is Nomura. But let me go across. Kush, do you have a view with regard to IndusInd first?
Well, after the debacle, it was an avoid for the longest time. Now it's starting to, show some strength, but I wouldn't go out and buy just yet. Now, for the fall, that started somewhere in the early part of 2024. It's at the retracement level of 23.6%. That comes at 865, not too far from where the bank is positioned or the stock price is positioned currently. So I'll wait for this resistance zone to be taken out and then perhaps initiate a long position, because from there on, the targets actually come to 1,000 and about 1150. The risk reward ratio we understand is fairly favorable, and on the downside you've got a support zone at 750. So from a risk reward standpoint, it is fairly favorable and not too far from the key resistance and supply zones. So wait for 865 to be taken out on a closing basis, then perhaps you can consider a long trade on IndusInd Bank for a small amount and a much favorable risk reward ratio.
Just that question to Avinash as well, and fundamentally the fact that the worst is over narrative has begun before we knew or before we know who is going to be the new leader in charge of turning this ship around. Does that tell you that there's more runway there to the IndusInd Bank story from this point?
No, I think, Tamanna, I think the selection of the CEO is very critical. I think if you get a leader who's very well accepted in the market and which has a very strong profile in turning around, bad situations into opportunities, then I think the stock would definitely get further re-rated, because initially, it's going to be the narrative which is going to play out now. We'll have to wait for numbers, and I think in case of numbers, IndusInd Bank has clearly disappointed investors very badly. I remember in December the problem started. They said the next quarter is going to be a normal quarter, and the March quarter was a horrible quarter. So I think markets will also look at numbers and data points to prove the the narrative, which is very right or wrong. I would say that once the CEO is selected, some more clarity and some more positive sentimental factor will play on the stock. As of now, I think people who hold the stock can hold on. Somebody who's a risky investor and can take the bet now can definitely chip in currently, because most of the worst price is already there in the price, as you rightly said. But I think to get a real complete turnaround and a real risk reward opportunity, I think the process could take as long as, say, 12 to 18 months, because it's going to be a long process. Building market confidence and building the data points again on this base is going to be a big challenge.
Really is the question, that is the recovery story baked into the price, or is there more to go? Just another one, if you